I have a lot of books in my library at home from doctors, professors, scientists, naturopaths, naturopathic doctors who are having success helping their patients to conquer cancer. And so I read them all, and I want to find the three common denominators. Cancer loves acid. Cancer also loves no oxygen. So knowing those things, it makes a lot of sense to alkalize the tissues. And even though there's the drop of only 1 point, the drop of 1 point means 60% less oxygen available at the cellular level. The other thing cancer loves is sugar. So these are the three common denominators I find. And so when people come to us wanting help to conquer cancer, you see what we do? We suggest a diet that's highly alkalizing. We suggest ways to oxygenate the body. In fact, some health retreats have hyperbaric chambers. Have you heard of those? We have one, and it puts oxygen in under pressure. And we also greatly eliminate the glucose.
Did you know that certain grains can actually help lower your risk of cancer and support healthy weight loss? While most of the spotlight goes to fruits, vegetables and supplements, research is showing that some ancient grains offer powerful health benefits that go far beyond basic nutrition. They're high in antioxidants, fibre and plant-based compounds that reduce inflammation, stabilise blood sugar and may even prevent the growth of cancer cells. In today's video, we'll break down 4 of the most effective grains for supporting the immune system, detoxing the body, and promoting long-term metabolic health. Before we get started, I'd love to know, where are you joining me from today? Drop a comment below and feel free to ask any questions you have. If you're passionate about living a healthier life, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our life-changing tips. Now, let's get ready. 1. Brown rice, the underrated grain that detoxes, nourishes and heals. When people talk about rice, they usually think of the white fluffy kind that goes with everything, from stir-fry to sushi. But white rice, as comforting as it may be, is like a stripped-down version of its more powerful, nutrient-rich cousin, brown rice. Brown rice still has its bran and germ layers, and that's where the real magic lies. Those outer layers contain not just fibre but also B vitamins, antioxidants, trace minerals and protective plant compounds that white rice loses during processing. You could say brown rice is the full package, while white rice is just the gift wrap. Let's go a little deeper. What makes brown rice truly powerful is fibre. Not just any fibre, but a kind that feeds your beneficial gut bacteria, regulates your digestive system, and most importantly, binds and removes toxins from your intestines before they have a chance to get reabsorbed. That's a game changer when we're talking about cancer prevention. Fibre helps reduce the risk of colon cancer by keeping things moving, lowering transit time and starving harmful bacteria. A slow-moving gut is a breeding ground for disease, and brown rice helps sweep it clean, gently but powerfully. But it's not just about digestion. Brown rice contains plant compounds like lignans and flavonoids, which are known for their antioxidant and hormone balancing properties. Lignans in particular have been linked to a lower risk of hormone cancers like breast and prostate cancer. These compounds act like tiny shields in the body, neutralizing free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and preventing DNA mutations. And you've got a food that's actively supporting your immune system, cellular repair, and detox pathways. One of the most overlooked nutrients in brown rice is gamma-oryzonol, a potent antioxidant compound that reduces inflammation at a deep cellular level. Chronic inflammation is the breeding ground for almost every degenerative disease, including cancer and obesity. And here's the connection. Excess weight and cancer often share that same hidden driver: inflammation. When you eat brown rice regularly, you're not just nourishing your body, you're disarming an invisible enemy. You're telling your cells, I'm here to heal, not to feed disease. Brown rice is fat loss and metabolism booster in disguise. Let's talk fat burning. People often assume they need to avoid all carbs to lose weight, but not all carbs are the enemy, especially when they come wrapped in fibre, antioxidants and steady burning energy like brown rice does. The high fibre content in brown rice doesn't just aid digestion, it slows down the absorption of sugar, stabilises your blood glucose, and prevents insulin spikes. That's important because when insulin spikes, your body shifts into fat storage mode. Brown rice helps you avoid that trap. By keeping blood sugar stable, brown rice supports a hormonal environment that makes it easier for your body to burn fat instead of storing it. And here's the kicker: stable blood sugar also means fewer cravings, especially the kind that lead you to binge on processed snacks or sweets. This is especially important if you're trying to lose weight sustainably without constantly feeling hungry or deprived. Brown rice keeps you feeling full longer, reducing calorie intake naturally without relying on willpower alone. The cooking secret that turns brown rice into a healing food. One reason people don't like brown rice is because they say it's too chewy, too dense, or too hard. But this isn't a flaw of the grain, it's a cooking issue. Brown rice needs to be cooked slowly and thoroughly to unlock its digestibility and nutritional benefits. If it's undercooked, it retains tough starch granules that are harder for the gut to break down. This isn't just a matter of taste, it's a matter of health. Dr. Agatha Thrash, a well-known medical doctor and pathologist, once shared something profound. During her post-mortems, she noticed that many patients had tiny scars on their brains, and she linked these to undigested starch particles crossing the blood-brain barrier. She later read a statement from a respected health writer. Grains should receive long, slow cooking. When she tested different cooking times for rice, she found that after 1.5 hours, the starch granules finally disappeared. That insight transformed how she viewed the role of properly cooked grains in disease prevention. So how do you cook brown rice properly? The best way is in a rice cooker or slow cooker. And once it finishes cooking, let it sit with the lid on for another hour. This gentle continued heating helps the grain soften and fully break down its starches. You can also soak the rice beforehand to shorten cooking time and enhance nutrient absorption. If your family isn't used to brown rice, start with a mix of half brown, half white, and slowly transition. Even white rice, while gentler on sensitive guts, still needs that slow cook method to be truly digestible. It's a myth that all grains are inherently hard to digest, they just need to be respected. When prepared properly, brown rice becomes soft, nourishing, and deeply satisfying. Not to mention a powerful ally against disease. If you're serious about taking back your health, whether you're battling chronic illness, trying to lose stubborn weight, or simply aiming to feel more alive, brown rice is one of the most practical and powerful grains you can add to your routine. So the next time you're choosing your grains, remember you're not just eating, you're healing. If you want to start eating brown rice, comment down healthy rice way. 2. Millets. The ancient grain that fights cancer, calms inflammation and shrinks your waistline. When most people hear the word millet, they think of birdseed or some obscure ingredient from a dusty health food store. But this ancient grain, once a staple in traditional diets across Africa, Asia and parts of Europe, is making a well-deserved comeback, and for good reason. Millets are alkaline forming, naturally gluten-free and packed with nutrients that modern grains simply can't compete with. In fact, millets are often referred to as functional foods, foods that do more than just fuel the body, they help heal it. The most powerful thing about millets is their anti-inflammatory capacity. Chronic inflammation is the silent driver behind both cancer and obesity, and millets work to cool that fire. They're rich in phenylyl compounds, flavonoids and tannins, plant-based antioxidants that neutralize free radicals before they can damage cells and trigger abnormal growth. Studies show that diets high in these antioxidants reduce the risk of chronic diseases, especially those related to oxidative stress like breast cancer, colon cancer and metabolic syndrome. Another overlooked factor is how millets support gut health, which is deeply tied to cancer prevention. Millets are loaded with fibre, not just the type that keeps you regular, but the kind that feeds your good gut bacteria. This creates a microbiome that lowers inflammation, strengthens immunity, and improves the body's ability to detoxify harmful substances. A healthy gut isn't just about digestion, it's about resilience. When the gut barrier is strong and your microbial balance is healthy, it becomes much harder for diseases to take root. Some researchers even believe millets may contain anti-cancer peptides, protein fragments, that may slow the growth of certain tumours. While this area is still under study, the early evidence is promising. What we do know is that traditional cultures have consumed millets for centuries, and these populations often show lower rates of chronic illness. Coincidence? Maybe not. Millets prove that the best new superfoods are often the oldest ones we forgot. Millets and weight loss, the secret carb that helps you burn fat naturally. Now let's talk about what millets can do for your waistline. In a world obsessed with low-carb diets, millets might seem like the wrong choice at first glance, but here's the truth. Not all carbs are created equal. Millets are what we call smart carbs. They digest slowly, release glucose gradually, and keep your energy stable instead of spiking and crashing like refined grains. This is a big deal, especially for people with insulin resistance, diabetes, or stubborn belly fat. The fibre content in millets plays a central role here. It helps keep you full for longer, reduces snacking and minimises overeating, all without the need for extreme dieting. Fibre-rich foods like millet expand in your stomach and slow the rate at which food leaves the digestive tract. This means fewer cravings, more control over your appetite, and a steady supply of energy that supports physical activity and metabolic. You don't have to starve yourself to lose fat, you just have to eat smart. But here's another layer. Millets contain plant-based protein, which is essential for building muscle and boosting metabolism. The more lean muscle you have, the more calories you burn, even at rest. Unlike empty carbs that offer no lasting benefit, millet fuels muscle growth and supports your body's fat-burning machinery. It's a kind of food that works for you even after you've finished eating it. Millets also shine in the blood sugar department. They have a low glycemic index, GI, which means they don't cause the rapid insulin spikes that promote fat storage, especially around the belly. In fact, researchers have found that millet-based diets significantly reduce abdominal fat and improve insulin sensitivity. For anyone struggling with metabolic issues, millets aren't just safe, they're therapeutic. They're a gentle, intelligent grain that supports fat loss without stress or sacrifice. Magnesium, stress, and the millet metabolism connection. One of the most overlooked micronutrients when it comes to metabolism is magnesium, and millets are rich in it. Magnesium plays a critical role in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, many of which involve energy production and glucose regulation. When you're magnesium deficient, and most people are, you're more likely to experience fatigue, blood sugar issues, and even hormonal weight gain. Magnesium helps your body convert food into usable energy, making sure carbs are burned and not stored as fat. It also improves insulin sensitivity, which is crucial if you want to burn fat instead of storing it. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Magnesium helps regulate cortisol, your stress hormone. Chronic stress raises cortisol, and high cortisol levels are directly linked to belly fat. So when you're eating millet, you're not just feeding your body, you're calming your stress response at the biochemical level. And we know that stress eating is one of the biggest weight loss killers. When you're under pressure, your brain tells you to reach for sugary or fatty foods, and your body stores them more readily. But by including magnesium-rich foods like millet in your regular diet, you're training your body to be more stress resilient, reducing the chance of emotional eating and hormonal weight gain. This is a long-term win. Millets also contain B-complex vitamins, iron, phosphorus and zinc, all critical nutrients that support immune health, hormonal balance and detoxification. Think of millet as a grain that fills in the gaps left by processed diets. You're not just eating to stay full, you're eating to rebuild what years of stress, sugar and nutrient-poor food have eroded. That's a radically different approach to weight loss, and it's far more sustainable. If you want to start taking millet-type healthy millet ways, Spelt and Kamut, ancient grains that strengthen, cleanse and protect, modern wheat isn't what it used to be. Over the last 70 years, wheat has been heavily hybridized, bred for yield, not nutrition. The result? A crop that's high in gluten, low in digestibility, and often hard on the human body. But Spelt and Kamut, they belong to a much older family. These grains are wild hybrids of early wheat strains cultivated thousands of years ago before aggressive breeding stripped grains of their natural integrity. Their protein structures are still fragile, digestible, and far more compatible with the human gut. Spelt and Kamut contain a rich mix of plant-based antioxidants that help protect against cancer at the cellular level. These compounds work by neutralizing free radicals, the unstable molecules generated by pollution, processed foods, and chronic stress that damage DNA and trigger inflammation. And as we now know, inflammation and oxidative stress are two of the key drivers of cancer. By regularly eating these ancient grains, you help arm your body with defense tools that modern wheat simply can't offer. They also contain lignans, special plant hormones that can help balance human hormone levels. Why is that important? Because hormonal imbalances are often behind the growth of hormone-sensitive cancers like breast, ovarian and prostate cancer. Lignans work by binding to estrogen receptors, effectively preventing excess estrogen from triggering unwanted cell growth. This hormonal balancing property gives Spelt and Kamut a unique advantage, especially in a world filled with endocrine disruptors from plastics, chemicals and processed food. On top of all that, these grains are incredibly gut-friendly, which is essential for any cancer preventive or healing diet. Their fibre feeds beneficial gut bacteria, supports smoother digestion and helps eliminate toxins through regular bowel movements. A clean, well-functioning digestive tract means less toxic buildup, better nutrient absorption and a lower risk of colon and gastrointestinal cancers. Simply put, these grains aren't just gentle on your gut, they help protect and fortify it. The gluten story, why ancient grains don't cause brain fog or bloating. Let's address the elephant in the room, gluten. Spelt and Kamut both contain gluten, but it's not the same hyper-aggressive gluten found in today's commercial wheat. The gluten in modern wheat is the result of decades of genetic modification, which has created a protein structure so complex that only a cast iron gut, as some put it, can tolerate it without issue. That's why gluten intolerance and sensitivities have skyrocketed over the last 50 years. It's not your body that's broken, it's the food that's changed. Spelt and Kamut, on the other hand, have retained their original gluten structures, more delicate, easy to digest, and far less inflammatory. Unless you have celiac disease, an autoimmune condition, and most people with gluten sensitivity can handle Spelt or Kamut without the typical side effects like bloating, gas, or brain fog. And if you ferment these grains into sourdough, their gluten structure breaks down even further, restoring them to something much closer to their ancestral origins. Dr. Agatha Thrash, the pathologist we mentioned earlier, often observed brain fog and cognitive issues in people who consumed large amounts of hybridized wheat. These issues weren't due to gluten itself, but to how heavily modified it had become. When her patients switched to Spelt or Kamut, many reported clearer thinking, better digestion, and more stable energy, results echoed by holistic nutritionists and functional doctors today. Even better, these grains come with fewer allergy triggers than modern wheat. Many people with unexplained fatigue, joint pain, or mental fog find that when they eliminate commercial wheat and replace it with Spelt or Kamut, the symptoms vanish. That's the healing power of going back to what your body was designed to handle: ancient, whole, untampered grains. Burn fat naturally with Spelt and Kamut. Let's pivot to weight loss. And yes, even ancient grains can help you shed fat when used correctly. Spelt and Kamut are both high in fibre and slow digesting carbohydrates. That means they don't cause wild blood sugar spikes like white flour or white rice. Instead, they provide a steady source of glucose that your body uses efficiently for energy, not for fat storage. This keeps insulin levels low and cravings under control, two essential ingredients for lasting fat loss. The fibre in these grains promotes satiety, that I'm full feeling, that stops you from reaching for extra snacks an hour after eating. In fact, studies show that people who consume high fibre diets tend to eat fewer calories overall and lose more weight over time. Why? Because fibre helps stretch the stomach gently, activates appetite-regulating hormones, and slows down digestion so you stay satisfied longer. Spelt and Kamut also offer plant-based protein, which is critical for building lean muscle. And here's the golden rule: the more lean muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. That's right, your body becomes a fat-burning machine even when you're not exercising. Combined with their magnesium and B vitamin content, which support energy production and stress regulation, these grains offer full spectrum of metabolic support. Even the trace minerals found in Spelt and Kamut, like phosphorus, zinc and iron, contribute to a healthy metabolism. Zinc plays a role in thyroid function, your metabolic thermostat, and iron helps oxygenate your tissues so you can stay active and alert, unlike ultra-processed, low-fat foods that leave you tired and nutrient depleted. These grains energize and restore you from the inside out. Fat loss becomes not just possible, but sustainable. If you want to start taking Spelt and Kamut, type healthy Kamut ways. 4. Quinoa, the gluten-free supergrain that fights cancer and fuels a fat-burning metabolism. Quinoa isn't just trendy, it's ancient. This grain-like seed was cultivated by the Inca civilization over 5,000 years ago and known as the mother grain. But only recently has modern science caught up to what ancient cultures already knew. Quinoa is a nutritional powerhouse. Unlike most plant-based foods, quinoa is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body can't make on its own. That alone sets it apart, but it's just the beginning. 4. Quinoa, the gluten-free supergrain that fights cancer and fuels a fat-burning metabolism. Quinoa isn't just trendy, it's ancient. This grain-like seed was cultivated by the Inca civilization over 5,000 years ago and known as the mother grain. But only recently has modern science caught up to what ancient cultures already knew. Quinoa is a nutritional powerhouse. Unlike most plant-based foods, quinoa is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body can't make on its own. That alone sets it apart, but it's just the beginning. Quinoa is loaded with powerful antioxidants including quercetin and kaempferol, 2 flavonoids that are rare in food but extremely potent. These compounds help protect cells from oxidative stress, which is the first step in the development of many chronic diseases, including cancer. When free radicals damage DNA, they pave the way for tumour growth. But the antioxidants in quinoa act as a shield for your cells. They neutralise these invaders before the damage can take root. In addition to antioxidants, quinoa contains saponins, plant compounds with anti-inflammatory and immune modulating properties. Research suggests saponins may play a role in triggering cancer cell apoptosis, essentially encouraging cancer cells to self-destruct. While more studies are needed, the early evidence is exciting. Combined with quinoa's high fibre content, which helps sweep toxins from the colon and maintain digestive health, this makes quinoa a legitimate cancer-fighting food from multiple angles. Quinoa is also naturally alkaline-forming and gluten-free, making it ideal for people with digestive sensitivities or autoimmune issues. Chronic inflammation, often caused by gluten, sugar, and environmental toxins, sets the stage for cellular mutation. But quinoa helps calm that inflammation, creating an internal environment where healthy cells thrive and rogue cells struggle to survive. It's not just food, it's cellular defense. In edible form, burn fat without crashing, why quinoa is a metabolism booster. Quinoa isn't just good for disease prevention, it's also one of the most effective fat loss grains you can eat. That might sound counterintuitive in the age of low-carb mania, but quinoa flips the script. Its blend of protein, fibre and complex carbohydrates delivers sustained energy without the insulin spikes that trigger fat storage. In fact, quinoa has a low glycemic index, making it ideal for those managing blood sugar or struggling with stubborn belly fat. Fibre plays a central role here. Quinoa's soluble fibre slows digestion and increases feelings of fullness, helping you eat less without feeling deprived. This kind of natural appetite control is what sustainable weight loss is built on, not starvation, not willpower. And here's the bonus. Fibre also helps modulate your hunger hormones, particularly ghrelin and leptin. That's the difference between short-term diets and long-term fat burning, hormonal balance. Because quinoa contains a solid dose of plant-based protein, it also supports muscle maintenance and growth, which is crucial when trying to lose fat. Why? Muscle burns more calories than fat, even at rest. So the more muscle you have, the more efficient your metabolism becomes. Quinoa gives your body the building blocks it needs to stay strong while losing weight, something most crash diets fail to address. The magnesium in quinoa also helps with glucose metabolism and supports hundreds of enzymatic reactions involved in energy production. Without enough magnesium, your body can't effectively use insulin or break down fat for energy. That's why magnesium deficiency is often linked to obesity and metabolic syndrome. Quinoa restores this critical mineral, fueling your cells to burn fat efficiently and naturally. Healing from within, the gut-brain immune benefits of quinoa. Quinoa supports far more than just metabolism. It nourishes the entire gut-brain immune axis, one of the most critical systems in the human body. A healthy gut is essential not just for digestion, but for mental clarity, mood regulation, and immune strength. Quinoa feeds the gut in two ways: by delivering prebiotic fibre that supports healthy bacteria and by reducing inflammatory triggers that can damage the intestinal lining. This is especially important if you're recovering from a damaged or leaky gut, which allows toxins to enter the bloodstream and create systemic inflammation, a known precursor to autoimmune disease and cancer. Unlike gluten-containing grains, which can irritate the gut lining in sensitive individuals, quinoa is gentle, healing and fortifying. It helps rebuild integrity where inflammation has caused breakdown. And let's not forget the role of iron and B vitamins in brain health and energy. Quinoa provides a natural source of both. Iron improves oxygen transport, giving cells the fuel they need to regenerate and function at full capacity. Meanwhile, B vitamins, especially B1, B6 and folate, help regulate neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. That's why quinoa isn't just energizing, it can actually lift your mood and improve focus. In times of chronic stress, nutrient depletion is common. People turn to caffeine, sugar, or processed food for quick energy, but those choices rob the body in the long term. Quinoa, on the other hand, restores and recharges, delivering clean, sustainable energy without the crash. It fills in the nutritional gaps created by modern lifestyles and helps rewire your internal chemistry to support long-term vitality and resilience. If you want to start taking quinoa, type Healthy Quinoa Ways. So there you have it, 4 grains with remarkable potential to support cancer prevention, reduce inflammation, and assist with weight management. While no single food is a cure-all, incorporating nutrient-dense whole grains like these can be a smart addition to a comprehensive wellness strategy. If you're managing a health condition, always speak with your healthcare provider before making major dietary changes. But for many people, these grains offer both protection and nourishment. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more evidence-based nutrition and wellness content. Thanks for watching, and take care of your health one smart choice at a time.